Hello, my name is Bella Zadore. I am the founder of Art Plus Studio, and now we are working also with different types of painters, and also we are an art studio in New Haven. We're doing different things. We work with team building, with corporations, and a lot of different types of painting and creativity in general. Today, we are going to be speaking with a great artist, collage artist, painter in Connecticut. Her name is Rebecca Maloney, and we're going to be talking about creating art in 2020. So I'm just going to be waiting for Rebecca over here. She is going to come in, and that way we can ask questions, we can do a lot of different things, and also you can inspire yourself. Yeah, she's just coming in. Hello. Hi,
Can you hear me
Rebecca.
okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Excellent. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm very happy to see you. And just like before we start, I just want to go over with you. Like, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do and how you do it. It's such a beautiful work you do. So I don't want to be talking, and I want you to introduce yourself, please. Okay?
Yeah. So thanks, Bella, for having me. Um,
Absolutely. Are you just putting
yeah.
alcohol in your hand?
No, no, no. I was just like excited.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
I've been doing that though. Hi everybody. My name's Rebecca, and yeah, I'm an artist. I've been I do I'm a painter. I use acrylic paint as my main medium for that, and I like to do mixed media collage as well. So yeah, I sort of been doing this for many years. I mean, it was something I was interested in as a child, and um, it kept my interest through high school, and I studied more through college. So uh, it's like part of me. I'll always
So
create and make art.
let me go a little bit before, just before you go to my other questions. So one thing I would like to know, if you can just explain a little bit what is collage, because I know you a painter, I know you do collage, I know you do all those beautiful things, but like for whoever doesn't know what is collage, a collage artist, can you just give like a little bit just for us
Sure.
to understand?
Um, Yeah, I use so collage is mainly application of paper and an adhesive. But there's so many different ways to do it, and I say when I talk about this medium and how I use it, I usually say mixed media collage because sometimes I incorporate different materials that aren't just paper.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take a surface of some kind, be it canvas, usually it's canvas, or like a board, or sometimes just a thick piece of paper, and I'll paint on it, and then I'll also layer um, painted papers or just solid colored papers, and or newspaper, or any things that I've found on the ground, like found collage papers, or things that papers that I've collected over the years. So I kind of have a collection of my own that are sort of like set up in my studio as like boxes of these collected papers that I've had over the years. And so I'll pull those out and I'll incorporate them into the piece of artwork that I'm making. And I always use some sort of glue. So with the collage that I do, I use what's it called? Oh, like a matte medium is good, or like a Mod Podge glue, something like that. And I layer it up. So then that's where the fun is for me. I like to paint and use collage paper and paint and do those layers. And then like the mixed media part, sometimes I'll use pencil over that, or I'll use marker, or in like years ago I was using a little bit of spray paint, so stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. So Rebecca, we're gonna have a chance to ask people to go to your site, and then maybe like you give us the address and everything, because it's such a beautiful work, and I think it definitely people need to understand, because it's so interesting. Like when we just say, and then it's hard for like whoever maybe do not paint or maybe never seen a collage, they would not understand until they see it and be like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. It's really beautiful, your work. But anyway, so let's go
Thank
to
you.
the question. No, it's really, I'm your fan, you know that. So Rebecca, one thing I would like to know, when did you figure it out you were an artist? And I have another one after that, because I want to know, like, how did you figure it out you were a collage artist too? But anyway, let's go first, like when you really started, like what happened there?
So that's a great question. I think for anyone who does creates artwork, it can be a different answer. But for me, it was more recent. I mean, you know, even like, so when I was a child, as I mentioned, I would sort of, so I grew up in a big family. I'm the youngest, and sometimes I would go into my bedroom, close the door, pull out my drawing pad, and just sit and draw. And I would
But
always have an
how
idea.
old you were there? How old were you?
I think I was probably, it was like, the memories that I can recall were probably like 6 or 7 or 8, so somewhere around
Okay.
that age. But I do remember, you know, playing, you know, with friends, or being with my family, or just playing in the backyard or stuff like that. And I had to be imagining things, and I remember thinking like, oh, that's something I want to draw. That would be something that I should draw. It was like this kind of a thought would come up. And so, you know, I'd later find myself like closing the door of my room, pulling out my drawing pad, and I would just see what would come through that. It was sort of
Wow.
like alone, like me time, and just like, oh, let's do that idea that you had and see what happens. So it was this like curiosity about having an idea and then seeing what can come through by drawing it, or using these, like, I really was into art materials, and like I loved all these different things you could use to like make color, you know, patterns, stickers. I had a sticker collection and stuff like that. So
That's pretty
um
awesome.
yeah, so then as I got older, it was always an interest, but then it was also sort of a habit. Like I needed that time, and I really liked creating. So I found myself even in high school gravitating to art class, and that was my place. Like when art class was on this, like, you know, through the schedule, the next class I knew was coming up was art class. It was a space of like, oh, that's when I can like relax, or like let go. There was this like exhale, and knowing that that class was coming up in my day. So
Interesting.
yeah, and then I did go to art. Like I went to art school. I went to Montserrat College of Art in Beverly, Massachusetts, and that was a school that when I visited, I really liked. Um, I really liked it, and it was sort of like for me that next option was just, oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna go and study. Like I want to keep doing this. So, but I think it was even years later, because after I got out of college, I got into doing all these different types of jobs, and like I
Mm-hmm.
traveled. I did a lot of travel, and I did create, but I didn't like I was just doing so many other things. And then I started to create more, maybe I'm trying to think, like 5 years after college. And it was this like, that was a time where I was like, oh no, you are an artist. And so I think that the years around then was when I actually acknowledged, and when I said, oh yeah, I'm an artist. Like it felt right, because I think I had to go through this period of like, because I hadn't done it for so many years, it's sort of like it felt like, no, you're not, or something like that. There was this like this break happened, and it sort of made me feel less confident about saying I'm an artist or something like that. But after that time, I looked back on my life and I was like, no, this is very me, you know? So, so yeah, like I said, not that long ago when I would say I'm an artist,
Do you,
really feel
do you think it was not long ago? I know you for a little bit.
I know. I think it's just a thing where it's like we have this idea of what that is for ourselves, and if we don't feel like we're living up to it or something, then we don't know if we can
sometimes
actually.
comes with a lot of responsibility to declare and say I'm an artist. It comes with a lot of like, not heaviness, but it comes with a little bit of responsibility, because you're like, am I good enough? Am I really an artist? I don't know. I've been through that, so I'm just saying like what I felt at that time. So you kind of like bringing me that.
Yeah, and I think I'm speaking for myself when I say this. It's like then you have to sort of explain.
Since I know you're an artist, that's what I'm saying. Like I know you at least for, I don't know, 17 years, maybe something like that. Yeah. So when you say like it was not like long time ago, it's a teenager already. Yes, it is. It's a while.
I mean, I did like in 2014 I created my website, and that made me feel a little bit more.
I see. Like I declare I am.
Yeah, like you can go to my website. I don't know. It's just the thing. But I think for me personally too, sometimes I have a hard time explaining, like if I say that to somebody, oh yeah, I'm an artist, it's like then there's more questions, and sometimes it's hard to even write an artist statement. So it's like to put words to things. Some people could find that as a challenge, and then it would just yeah.
No, I completely get it. I don't think I even did my artist statement like it's still in this year. So I understand what you're going through. I really understand. It's very hard because it's something you have to push inside of yourself and really go and just say what you feel when you were making art. So really, I do.
Yeah, and I think like I just want to say like I don't think this can be a really simple thing. And you just express who you are and why you do
but
what you do.
Putting in words is way, it's almost a different art in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like because you're pulling so many different feelings, but then putting in words is like, okay, this is another monster I have to deal with. I don't know. For me, it is, at least.
Yeah, I mean, something interesting too is when I was a kid, I actually would say that I wanted to write stories when I got older. Like as a kid, I wanted to be an author. And so that's so interesting to me. Like now it's like, nope, I'm visual. I like visual.
Well, but it may be something, it's not there yet, but it can
right.
come, and then maybe you didn't let that happen yet. It can happen.
I think it's true, definitely. It's
yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have a question for you. What inspires you to make art these days? And I know it's such a hard question because it's so easy to be not inspired with everything happening. Everything is upside down. Our life is upside down. So I really want to know what inspires you these days. Or maybe what doesn't? No, what doesn't? No. Let's say what are you doing to inspire yourself? Like whatever you want to go in this question. Just don't say what doesn't inspire you, because that we know. We don't need to go there.
Well, this year's been very interesting, and it's had its it's having its challenges, obviously, but yeah, I think for me, I noticed sort of this like pause in my creativity flow. There's this pause, and I was sort of noticing in myself this like urgency to like, okay, let's let's not pause. Let's try to keep things moving. Like, what are you gonna do? And no, it was like this message I was getting was like, just pause, and just be for right now. And so I found myself just kind of going like letting things be as they were in terms of my plans for how what I was gonna do, and I was inspired. Like my inspiration came has and still is, and really has always in many ways come this way. But I would go for walks, and I would in times where I just felt kind of lost in a sense in terms of creatively what I should do. I'd go for a walk. I'd be in nature. So nature's like to me something that is inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
I also use music a lot to inspire me. So sometimes I'll go for a walk and listen to music. Um, so that was sort of in the beginning of the year after like end of March, April, May. Um, and in May and like June timeframe, I sort of noticed like my younger self wanting to come through a little bit, and I started to create these little collages, and they're on my site, but I call them little worlds because years ago I used to create these I used to take CD, like remember when we used to buy CDs? Like I don't know if
Yes.
people do that. So take the book jacket out of the CD, and it's like, and it opens, and it's this sort of like long panel, and it's um, sometimes it's a hardcover that you can actually use to create on, and
Yeah.
or the book
Yeah.
jacket too. And I used
Mm-hmm.
to like use that as a background, and I would create collages on. Was I doing collage then? Yeah, I was. I was using
Oh, so
collage.
this is something you used to do.
Yeah, this is something I did years ago,
Oh,
and
okay, okay.
I used collage and I used paint to create like these little like landscapes almost, and I would mail them to people. I would mail them to friends
Oh,
or something.
that's very
So I,
cute.
yeah, like in this summer, I remembered I started doing these little collages, but as I was creating them, I was like, oh, I remember I used to do this. This is something that I would do during just where I had time after work and I wanted to create and just like let things go and not think about it and then give it away. Like this was art that I would create to give away. So it was like,
Wow.
um, so that was really interesting. So I started doing these little collages and, spending a few hours every day and imagining, in these little landscapes, like what could be going on behind the house, behind the boat. Like
Uh-huh.
just like if you saw something that, if you painted a world and it was an imaginary world that you would find that you would love to visit,
Oh,
and
wow.
you saw it come alive, like what would be happening? And so I think that the idea of that is really fun and interesting, and I feel like it connects to like the younger part of me. And I think the younger part of me this summer was looking for some sort of like there was this like there's a comfort in that, and I think that that's what was going on. And I was just finding
Oh,
really
definitely, yeah.
inspiration and joy in these little collages.
Wow, this is so
So
pretty. I really like the idea, like you doing and you giving to people. No, seriously, it's super cool. I never thought about something like that. That's so cool. Um,
yeah.
so just what influences your art? Like usually, like not even. I know we're talking about 2020, but like in normal times, once upon
Yeah.
a time, what inspires you?
Oh, so many. So I really like music is a really important part of my of when I create. So when I'm creating, I'm listening to music. Sometimes
Uh-huh.
I've even made like artwork to songs that are just like fill me with an emotion. Um,
Hmm.
I can sometimes, and I don't. I think there's a term for this, and I forget what it is. But when you hear a song and you can actually see kind of the visuals to
Mm.
that song, like if that song was a painting, what would it look like? So sometimes I'll hear music and it'll like strike me to paint, and
Okay.
I create from that song. So music is a big one.
Can I just go one little thing there? Do you create when you're sad or like super sad or super like I don't know, like super crying type of thing? I'm talking about myself maybe, but I'm just asking you this as a curiosity.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the next thing I was gonna say. Like emotions can carry sometimes such a heavy weight that to express it in through art
Yeah.
can like sort of like release it from the body a little bit for me. So
Hmm.
and sometimes that's joy and like
Also, so you do also when you're happy.
oh yeah, yeah,
Okay. That's a
um,
good habit. Okay.
yeah. So you know, um, anger definitely.
Yeah, that's the number one, I think. That's the number one, for me at least.
Yeah, emotion like you know expression of what's going on inside because I can hold in sometimes I can hold in a lot. I don't know if you
Hmm.
can feel that way. And like the art and creating is a way to just let some of that unlock itself within me. So
Okay.
um and
So
sometimes just like
you, okay, no, go ahead, go ahead.
you say like sometimes just art that I've already like a painting or a collage I've already created, I'll get an idea from and I'll create
Mm,
from there. Um,
okay.
but yeah, nature. I mentioned nature, but I've been painting flower like roses. I really was inspired by roses last year, and then I continued it this summer.
That's a very
So
pretty series, actually. Very pretty.
they
No,
yeah.
very pretty. So how the COVID, I know nobody wants to talk about this ever again, but how the COVID times influenced your art these days? Or like maybe like it changed like an effect or like the perspective, how this like changed for you? Or you just like blank?
No, that's a great question. Uh, well, before this started, I as all of us, many people, we all could get together and do things together.
Hmm.
And I was doing events like workshops with folks, and I really enjoyed that togetherness of that. And so I really feel that like the lack of that. And um, so I think it's like I said earlier too, there's this sort of pause that like a feeling of pausing out of this has come through. And the change the change is sort of like what what's on your heart to make that or to create that's just for you. So
Hmm.
um
But
you know
have you are you seeing affecting you for sure, like in your art? Maybe changing a little bit, maybe like the perspective. Do you think it's not inspired because it's such a, but I'm saying like somehow influenced?
I mean, those little collages I was making were were
You went to the
inspired.
happy place. You like
I went
you
to
completely
like,
went to a happy place there.
yeah,
It's beautiful.
the younger self of me was like, this will be comforting and just be bring you peace, like some peace right
Okay.
now. So let's do
Yeah.
that. um,
No, but that's a great way actually, because like many times people can get very like inside themselves, depressed or anything like this. You went to the happy place, so I think it's beautiful. Like once you can even do that, is a it's a like it's a talent there. I think, you know what I mean. Seriously.
yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely this, like there's this feeling of I don't that there was this creatively there there's just been this pause, like I said, and so I
Mhm.
think that's been a challenge, and I think the best thing for me to do is to just keep creating, like just keep making things, like just try something new. And so even when you feel sort of like maybe there's lack of inspiration, or you just don't feel, maybe you aren't feeling joy, or you don't have, it's this it's like, for me it was like, what would be a simple thing that would bring you joy right now? Let's just do that, you know. So
Yeah.
um but overall, like I feel like like I said, I've been probably creating just a little bit like less than I normally would because of everything, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
That happens sometimes.
So, why art is important to you?
Oh my gosh, I love this question.
Good,
Oh my gosh.
thank you.
Well, I just I really appreciate, I really deeply appreciate the arts for
Mm,
everything that they bring they bring. I mean, like, you know, art is important to me as a tool of expression,
mhm.
as a way of um, connecting to others and um, understanding myself better. Uh, um, feeling feeling a connection to that there's something more out there. Like I
Mm,
like that sense of flow that comes when you're creating. That connection of like there's a deeper something happening in this moment, that loss of time that happens when you're creating, the discovery of what's possible, um, like endless possibilities, the just all these things to me is what makes art so important to me, to my like, to me that's why it's so important to me, is like all this stuff is part of what is art, and that's not even, that's, you know.
no, I completely agree. So
So
there was that was like this question is not even there right now. There, I'm like pointing to my paper. But how do you think art will help people right now?
well, you know, I think there's this like meme or something that's like, remember artists when you look at like when you go to the arts to find your inspiration, like to the music you listen to, the movies you
Hmm.
watch, like
Yeah,
all these things, like so
art. Yeah.
important for us to um, get through times that are more challenging. We look to the arts, and so it's a healing. It's like can be healing when we're having
Beautiful.
challenging times.
And it's very interesting because sometimes we don't even think about, but we are surrounded by art. Like
Exactly.
maybe you don't have paintings on your wall yet, but you should support the local artists. But also I'm saying we are surrounded by, like, architecture is art, films, like when you are feeling your life is upside down and your mind doesn't stop, and you go to movies, that's an artist there. It's
Yeah.
definitely something sometimes we're not aware, and it's so important, especially in this time,
Yeah.
or any other
Absolutely.
stressful time. It's very interesting how we don't think about it. But thank you for reminding me.
Hmm.
Even me, like I do arts all the time, and I'm like, wow, this is true, because sometimes we don't think about, like, it's really, we are surrounded. It's amazing. It's a huge blessing, and it's healing for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so Rebecca, what would be your advice to young artists? Because just like, before you say anything, I'm just saying, like, in my perspective, the way I see, like, I come from a country where, I'm from, for those who doesn't know, I'm from Brazil. It's a beautiful, amazing country in so many ways. And but as a visual artist, sometimes it can be a little hard. And I'm not saying just as a country, but a lot of places, people don't buy art. People don't. They go and prefer to buy a print to do other things, instead of, like, really understand that person who is painting has a huge value to society. So, um, I would say, like, a lot of people feel like, oh, I don't know if I want to be an artist because I don't know about money there. I don't know about how it's going to be my future. And all the questions, like, once you are going to college, you have. But I would ask you, what would you say to a young person who wants to be an artist? What type of message you would give to them, or maybe an advice or something? Like, what would you say to them and be like, hey, if I was you at this time, or like, like, now I see differently, what would you do, or what would you say to them?
I would just say follow your curiosity and continue to find what brings you, like, what fills you up with excitement with your art, and practice make creating, and give yourself time to do that, like carve some time out to, like, create. And you don't need you can have a desk. You don't need, just like, you don't it could be a small space, but to just continue down your path. And um
Maybe, like, don't
like,
fight.
what's that?
Don't fight with what you really are, or
Yeah,
something like that.
like, I think it's like kind of like that part I said, like, stay curious, is like, just continue to, like, I'm imagining, like Alice Wonderland, as I love her, but, like, this idea of, like, following the path and seeing what comes up, and then just continue following your curiosity that way. But, like, if you're like, I'm not really answering this question, like,
No, you are. No, go ahead. Listen, it is what you're thinking. That's what I want to hear.
yeah, I think just staying true to who you are, and, like, following your curiosity and continuing to create your art no matter what. And when you
Awesome.
find the moments that are a challenge, just remember why it's important to you, and
Interesting.
look to people that are inspiring to you for um, to learn from, or to read about, like, artists from history that can inspire you. Um, and yeah.
No, awesome. Excellent. Um, So I want to know what is coming for you. Like, do you have any plans? Do you have any like shows, anything, or maybe like any courses and workshops you were thinking to have for people who actually going to see this later, understand it, and can find you? Like,
Yeah, so I'm really I'd like to plan a virtual workshop in the fall around these little collages that I've been making. Something really fun, something very like low key that's um, just will bring joy to folks and like will bring us together and we can create together and share our ideas around what we're creating and imagine, you know, possible futures and like what's next for
hmm.
us and dream, like, you know, so something around that I've been thinking about and would like to do that in the fall.
Excellent. So I know people are going to be seeing this later, and if you would like to see an artist here and you feel you would like to love to them to like talk and then express themselves, and then we can talk about different themes in art, just tag an artist if you have a friend, a person you love and you would like to, and we're going to be doing a series of this type of lives. And I think it's very important because first, we're all in the same boat, but second, also as an artist, I really believe it's not the one of the best times, and I'm not talking about pandemic or anything like this. I'm talking like the internet. I'm talking about like the technology. I think it's one of the best times for artists because people are understanding, finally understanding with how much they need to be in contact with their expression and all those
Yeah.
things. So it's a very cool thing to hear you, Rebecca, and see like what you went through as a young Rebecca, and you continue young anyway, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like as a very young Rebecca. And it's very good for because I can definitely identify to what you said because I was in between being an engineer and being an artist, and I was like, you know what, no way, I have to. It's just so just what you're saying, like it's hard to assume, but it is what it is. It's there in your blood, in your DNA, and that's how you feel
Yeah.
and think. Yeah. So, and I think it's very helpful for people who can watch and maybe feel they want to express themselves and they're afraid to, but it's a beautiful thing. You went through, I went through, and I think it's amazing. You know, it's just like I can relate just to what you're saying. I'm not crying because I probably cried like days ago, but it's just like really easy to identify. So I hope people out there can identify with this story because it's such a beautiful story. And also, I love what you're saying, like you went through, you know, like this time of sadness and you went through a very comfortable time. It's a very cool experience too. I wish I did that way. You know, instead of like feeling all those things, but it's just very cool to go through yourself and know you have like you have this inside of you. You're like, okay, I'm going to go to this comfortable time where I used to do this. It's such a, I think it's an awesome workshop if you put this workshop together because it's going to bring so much joy to people, really. So please do it. Okay.
Can I add something to the last
Absolutely.
question you said? You know, like our friendship has been important to me and like our
Oh.
having a friend that like you can go to when you're you're going through challenges. So like the folks who are, you know, to young folks who are looking at being an artist, like find friends that you can like go to and like support each other. You know, that's a big I think that's really important.
Okay, so can I just add something there because I feel it's important as a friend too. but also it's very important to find a community of some people who actually like the same things you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know you, but it's kind of like I'm going to put it out there, but it's like, have you felt like a weirdo because you were like, you think differently, and you just you like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? As a teenager, it's a huge thing. We
Oh
already
yeah.
feel awkward, and then as an artist it's like plus 100. I think, I don't know. So it is, so it's so important to have a community as an artist, because you just, as an expressive or as a creative, maybe, like I would say, like in general, because it is so important to see other people who thinks outside the box, and who want sometimes, and don't, maybe they are in a family who doesn't let them do it, or maybe they're in an environment, or maybe work, and it's so hard for them to do it.
Right.
So community is huge on like being an artist. So anyway, I talked too much, but that was your question. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, it is super important, super 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 important.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions for Rebecca, even it's after this live, it's not a problem. And or any questions for me, I would love to answer the questions for you. We're going to be at the Art Plus Studio Facebook, and we can answer it. It's not a problem if you sing this live later. It's really not. Um, and I want to say, so questions in general for us. Also, I would like to thank everybody who came, everybody who's coming later. It's not a problem at all. And just want to say, Art Plus Studio, it's a place for creation. We used to work with events. We do a lot of events. We still do. And we do events for corporations, for team buildings. We make people who work in the corporate table, cubicle, anything like this, become creative, even if it's for 3 hours, and universities and groups in general. And also, I have now a club called Art Club Online. It's a club for whoever feel they want to paint, and they were always felt very discouraged because they're like, oh, I don't even know which brush to get. I don't even know what paint to get. How am I going to do this? Am I an artist? So you can do it. We are here to help. It's a very beautiful portal where you can go and watch like Netflix, but it's all about painting. And it's such a cool thing to do. It's a huge dream I had for a long time, but because of like crazy life and business and all those things, I never did. But I had so much time, I created. I'm very proud of it, and I'm very happy about. And I would love to have you to come and register if you want. We're having like a waiting list right now. We're going to open again September 12th. So if you want to do that, just go to artclubonline.com, and you can go and put yourself in a waiting list, and I'll send you a bunch of beautiful goodies and stuff for you to know to start to paint right now. Okay, Rebecca, that was an amazing time to see you, talk with you. Just thank you very much for this. And
Thank you so
would you like to say something, please? Just do
no,
it like
just if anyone wants to like find me, you can go to my hashtag for Instagram is Rebecca Maloney Art, and I use that platform probably the most, and my link to my website's over there too. So yeah, thanks for being here and listening, and thank you,
all your
Bella.
events are there too, all your courses, everything is there, everything we need to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, awesome. And your art to buy
On my website.
in
Yeah.
your website too. Okay.
I mean,
And your
email
website
me.
is in your
It's
website it is
it's RebeccaMaloneyArt.com.
RebeccaMaloneyArt.com. It's a beautiful place to go. Please go. It's lovely. And check collage and check the workshops and everything else. Thank you so
Thank
much, my
you.
darling. It was lovely to speak with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.